Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Today, I'm bringing back Trent J. Balduff, or Trent JB, as you may have known him. I see in the background that he's sitting in his Tsbees compound. That's the business that he runs. And honestly, he's a very interesting man. Honestly, I've only met him in person once, and it's like we were brothers since then. And even though we don't talk that much, every time I talk with him, it's like it goes to a deeper level. It's like I heard a quote once where when two people are close friends or are on a similar level, they can go months, years, maybe even decades apart. But when they come back together with that conversation, it's like they never left. The convo just continues back right where it left off at the same level of depth, same level of vulnerability. And I always feel that way with Trent. And so it's a true pleasure to have him on.
True pleasure to be here, my friend. Thank you, Harley. And on a real note, I was going to say the only reason that we were able to experience that depth in the connection, in the friendship, in the organic of it, the organic nature of it too, was because of your vulnerability. And that was a very key word that you had introduced there. Vulnerability creates strength. Simple as that in a lot of ways.
Yeah, like, why do you think that's the case? Like, why do you think opening up about your feelings, thoughts, desires to someone makes someone strong? Or, yeah.
Brilliant question. Opening up yourself in ways that you feel vulnerable, whether that be emotionally, physically, spiritually, to an essence, when you open yourself up in ways that are uncomfort or create that sense of vulnerability, that's an opportunity for growth. It's so easy for us to want to stay in what's safe in our minds and in our bodies. And like us humans have really, really enjoyed conditioning ourselves to be in a box that have a lot of labels to themselves. And those labels typically have a lot to do with what we can see in the 3D, of course. Like skin color is a big one of them that comes out right out of the gates that people see and judge people off of. But when we are vulnerable and go beyond any sort of labels that are preconceived, it's all energy, it's all love, it's all good, it's all such a flowing, beautiful manifestation. Life is so brilliant, and to not allow yourself to be vulnerable to everything else around you that is a part of creation leaves you missing out on an opportunity to be able to understand different depths of yourself. So it's really just like a leaping outside of the nest. And it doesn't have to be a leap out of a nest that's 50 feet in the air. It can be, spread your wings a little bit at least. I think part of spreading your wings is being vulnerable, to say the least. It builds strength in connections, in your connection to God, in your ability to communicate everything to yourself and everybody around you. It's necessary.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like, I sometimes notice when I'm talking to people, like you can almost tell whether or not the person that you're talking with is a person who's wanting to be a person that is vulnerable, or a person that's wanting to be, wanting that relationship to dive into a deeper level. It seems like some people may not be comfortable, may not be interested, etc. But either way, you can feel it. It's that energy like you're talking about. Like, even though we're not in the same room, I feel the energy of, well, I'm willing to explain to Trent where I've gone wrong or what I've messed up on, or my feelings, even though the feelings might be embarrassing to, explain. But in doing that, it's like you have two options when you're talking to someone. It's like you can either be your true, genuine self, or you can be like, I don't even know what the other version would be. It's a person that's not you, that's for sure.
They want you to be, or something that, and of course, there's an element of people pleasing to like just survival, right? We don't want to be like, but on some levels, on an egoic level, I think you would want to say, but like you were saying, there's one or two ways you can communicate with somebody. It's that full, genuine, authentic, vulnerable, transparent self, or it's something that has a little bit of layers and walls up. And the walls that sometimes we feel protect us really are holding back a lot of blessings in so many ways. on the other side of those walls that we hold up that keep us safe and outside of vulnerability, there's so much love. If we really do look at the source of it all, like we were saying, that's that energy, the source of it all, the consciousness of that energy, it's love. And it's love. It's so good. It's so juicy and bubbly. And that's a present and available to us in the now. And when we focus on connecting to that source of feeling and thinking and being in that presence of love, everything and anything becomes possible. And we immediately remove vulnerability to an opportunity for victory. And it doesn't even have to be labeled as a victory, but just an opportunity for growth. To think of it as an opportunity for growth is a little bit preposterous. It just is. And I suppose to add anything beyond that would be to be philosophical and esoteric, rational, because we are conscious beings, and it's a beautiful thing to be able to rationalize things like that. But yeah, life is good, man. Life is great.
Seriously, it is.
Stepping beyond those vulnerabilities is just there's no such thing as a nail, but it's all feathers. God is good. God is so good.
Most definitely. Yeah, I've been going to the sauna the past, maybe year or so, and each day I go in there, it's funny. I heard a study once that said like people who go in saunas are typically more honest than people who don't, because, well, at least when you're in the sauna, you're more honest because, well, there's no distractions. Your phone, you can't really use your phone. You get too sweaty, and you're in this hot environment, and like all that's going through your head are your thoughts. And like now that it's hot, you're like, oh man, these thoughts are even like bubbling up more. And like I notice when I'm in the sauna with these different people that I've never met, we're talking about we're talking about our families, our dreams, our desires, our mistakes, our everything. And it's like, man, I don't even know your name maybe, but we're diving into this level of vulnerability. And for some reason, it's just like, it's one of the highlights of my day because I actually just came from it. I just came from a session with 4 guys, just us 4, like just talking about whatever we're feeling. And I just feel like I also heard a study or a statistic that said, like, I think it was 50% or 40% of men say that they don't have a best friend. They don't have someone that they can go to on a regular basis to be vulnerable with and to be honest about. And I'm like, man, wow, is that truly saddening? Like, cause I don't even know if I could go more than a day without like unpacking my feelings and thoughts to my friend, my girlfriend, my family, anyone. And it's like, even just a stranger. I think I might be farther on the spectrum of just willing to be open. And I think you might be too, but it's like, how sad is that? How sad is that a large percentage of the population don't even feel comfortable, or they don't have anyone in their life that they are able to just open up about. And I'm just like, man, how can we try to inspire people to start opening up more? Because, man, I don't know how they could live without that. I don't know how I would, but.
Wow. That was a testament because of the honesty in the people that do get in the sauna. I'm not surprised behind it. That's probably an actual statistic and an actual fact. Honestly. And having those types of conversations where you are vulnerable and being, like you were saying, being able to have someone like that in your life, even if it's just one other person, is such a necessity. And my goodness, after working in mental health at that mental health facility for children for the 12 months that I did, and then within a very short period of time with the intention of moving to Hawaii, went from working in mental health in Cleveland for a year and went through relationships that unveiled like all of the past patterns of traumas and things of that nature to me, which required an unbelievable amount of vulnerability to myself and other people. Following that up, going to Hawaii and really just sinking into that type of lifestyle, which is my soul has been called into my entire life, but was suppressed because of the box and labels that I put myself under. and conceptualizing all of that on top of dealing with mental health issues and things like that. Thank God I have people in my life. And if you are one of those people watching this video, thank you so much for ever being there for me in a time where I needed to be able to express myself. Because one of the most important things that I'm starting to find out nowadays is that you're never alone at all. Nobody's alone in this world. And it might seem that way when we look through the veil. But when we lift that veil up, then we realize that we're all connected on that energetic level. But it requires an immense amount of vulnerability that human beings do not do well with. And that is why we have mental illness that I have suffered from to varying degrees: eating disorders, depression, daily anxiety, things of that nature, and substance abuse to cope with all of that. It's okay to medicate yourself sometimes. And it's okay to find partnerships in the midst of hard times in your life. And it's okay to go through those things that some may quote unquote call wrong. And truth be told, there's no such thing as good or bad. There is only right or wrong. I know I'm going down a crazy rabbit hole, but lo and behold, the point of what this rabbit hole is getting to is that when you do open yourself up to the vulnerability of what life has to offer, and you open yourself up out of that box that you were put in by society, you get to be free to create who you are, because in your DNA, your truth is coded in you. In the downloads that you can receive from God when you open yourself up to a higher power, the most high good, that type of vulnerability is necessary for a soul transformation. We all came to this earth for a soul transformation. We did not come here for a 9-to-5 job and create a family, even though that transforms souls. It seems to be that is the number one thing that people are projected and expected to do in our world today. And there is so much more to being a human being than those things. And that's the box that I found myself finding. Why was I depressed? Because I didn't have a successful 9-to-5 and health insurance, and I wasn't in a relationship with a healthy, and like so many people say, don't listen to those societal standards and things like that. But there hits an age, there's times in your life when you just view it differently because like the numbers attached to it. Again, a label. I would look at myself and say, I'm a 27-year-old man. Why do I not have these things? And lo and behold, they're all external. And that has a lot to do with why I have struggles with mental illness. It's the most important thing that we can all do right now is center ourselves in love right here and now. Be here now as best you possibly can. Wow.
Yeah, that was
Be
really
vulnerable,
good.
Though.
Yeah, man. It's kind of ironic that the worst punishment known to man is solitary confinement, where you're unable to open up with anyone whatsoever, and you're forced to keep those thoughts inside. You're forced to talk to a wall that doesn't give you any feedback. And it's crazy that people live their lives like that. And sometimes, I know some people that are like, yeah, I don't really have emotions. I don't need to be vulnerable. And I'm just like, you're lying to yourself. It doesn't sound cool. Oh, you're a stoic. It doesn't sound cool. You have no real friends then. That's what you're really saying. I have no real friends, and I am too scared to open up about my true desires and my true feelings. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't think that's something you should be boasting about. It's something that honestly is going to provide you a lot of mental anguish, like you're saying, like mental health problems. And yeah, man,
Amen, brother.
I could preach on that all day long. But I wanted to ask next, how does Hawaii fit into this whole situation? How did this help you along your journey of recognizing different things? And tell me about why you might want to live there, and just go down that story for a bit.
So Hawaii, I feel, is much more fitting for somebody who is as fluid as I am, or an individual.
What do you mean by fluid?
As I am. Fluid in the sense of there is a literal island lifestyle and it's just magnificent. Like, it's very easy to be present there. And in fluidity, I'm talking about the sense of energy in terms of everybody is a whole being. And if you look at a yin yang, it's the black and the white. Black, femininity; white, masculinity. And when I say fluid, I can mean that I can literally feel myself on an energetic level when my polarities switch or when I'm met in the middle in my heart center. And needless to say, the work of being present enough to feel where my power may lie at that moment is going to be the same whether I am in Timbuktu, Hawaii, or Castalia, Ohio. The best part of it is that I get to choose where we want to be able to do that work and where we want to be able to align with a higher vision, an assignment, so to speak, that I feel. Mostly going to Hawaii, I'm attracted to that idea, not only because of the sense of home that I felt at the place of living that I'm being offered, but it also because of, like I said, the higher vision, the assignment that I feel, and the opportunity to make it manifest, allow myself to align with that manifestations that may come through the aligning with that higher vision. If that does make sense. Just chopped it up a little bit. However, in terms of the fluidity, why not do that work of being present enough to feel that truth within myself at any given moment in a place where I'm going to feel happier and more grounded? Needless to say, if I were to stay in Sandusky, Ohio, I feel like I would be put in the box of I need to be a straight white male who is monogamous and getting ready to create a family and have a secure, successful job for himself, because that's what you do to contribute to society. And I see that path is very clear, understood, and could be integrated like that. I can see that road growing for 25 years. There is an entire different wave of creation, an entire different version of myself that is waiting to be rebirthed on the other side of the world. I've been here for 27 years, and I love it. I love life. It's beautiful here. Everybody here is so nice, and I love the opportunities for business, for housing. Oh my God, this is God's country, quote unquote, in so many ways. It's the Midwest. It's the heart of the Midwest. I love Ohio. But Hawaii is calling me because of the fact that my soul has been called there for the better part of a decade. Just always wanting to go there. Not necessarily like for the white sand beaches or anything like that. I just felt like I would do better on an island. Feel better on an island. Be better on an island. And when we break down our existence, it's feeling, interpretation, and thought, then conceptualization and action. And emotions in between the conceptualization and action. But at the start, it's feeling. And when I say that the energy of that island is one of a kind and makes me feel a different type of power in the being of my essence, the essence of my being as a creation of God, those words do not do that justice, period. I feel like I'm going to be able to just create more, and the world deserves more love. I know I'm going to be able to create a little bit more love in a place that I'm happier and healthier. I feel like it's going to be there.
Do you think is your plan to, well, you say you want to live more in the present. Is your plan to have still a schedule for your life? Like, are you still trying to, are you more, my question is, you were saying that you still want to keep the Tsbees going, or you still want to have some things that you are kind of in charge of, or how are you going to do that on the island? Is it still possible? And are you looking for a less rigorous schedule, or are you looking for, I guess, what are you searching for other than the being present? I guess On the island, you can be out in the sun and relax more slash have more time with your thoughts. That might be a pro, but do you think a con might be you might be aimless without like a schedule, or do you think you could tailor against that?
Tailoring against that would be moving out of inspiration. So whether that be something that manifests itself as a daily schedule, which don't get me, there are responsibilities required and the doings that have to happen for anything. Allow me to rephrase that. Do I intend on creating a schedule? The schedule will manifest itself through the inspiration and the alignment with that vision. The thought, that's the feeling. The thought of it at the very bottom is the schedule manifests itself, and I'm going to find that out when I'm there. I know that the responsibilities that I have in terms of helping maintain that farm, and one of the biggest reasons that I'm excited to go to Hawaii, honestly, is because I'm going to get to keep bees on the farm that I'm going to be living at. And not only that, I'm also going to be helping other beekeepers around the area, and just met a dude who's already started a couple nonprofits on the island who's working with bees on the island, and I'm still going to be connected to the project that's going on with the Bee Collective here in Columbus, Ohio. Even though I'm on Hawaii,
Nice.
It's gorgeous. I have an amazing supportive business partner that is going to be able to take care of all the manufacturing, or the production, the jarring and the labeling and distribution of all the products for the online sales and through all of our other customers' means and things of that nature. I'm going to be setting up a second base in Hawaii so that we can have international sales and things of that nature. I want to be able to take some of the organic herbs and things of that nature from the farm that I'm going to be working on and dehydrate them and infuse those into the mushroom honey as well. It's a lot going on. So when I say it's a higher vision, ultimately what I do see and feel going on, and this is me being totally vulnerable, and I don't even necessarily like verbalizing it, but I know it is truth. I've said for quite some time that I would like to end up off grid in a homestead in a jungle in either Hawaii or Costa Rica. I've said for quite some time that I would like to be at a place where I am free to create and live a nomadic lifestyle, but at the same time be very integrated in a community. And I've prayed for quite some time to be able to live my fullest, truest self and have the courage to do that and know that I am not alone in doing so either. God never says no, he says yes or wait, and he always puts you through a series of experiences that lead you to that yes. In order to make conscious your desires, you have to first make your unconscious conscious. Your unconscious will run your life until you overcome them, and you go to those depths, and you love those depths, and you love those, you turn those fears into loves, and you turn those fears into courage. And to be totally honest with you, I just know that that's going to happen better for me in Hawaii. And I know that the specific energy, as I was mentioning, of that place, the groundedness of that area, the holy site of the farm that I'm going to be allowed to stay on in and of itself, words do not do this place justice. My fullest intention, my greatest intention for this life is to be able to help other people with their mental health and create a facility in some sort, a community of some sort that will help them all feel at place and at home, or at least guide them to the knowing and knowledge that home is within. I am house, I am home. If I'm going to create a facility, like actually establish a building, a homestead, a community, a compound, why would I not do it in the place that I've always dreamed of living in? I could do it right here where I'm already living, and I've dreamt of doing it right here where I'm living, but at the same time, there's a spirit of adventure about life. Follow it. Life is way too short not to. When you get opportunities that seem too good to be true. They probably are. People say that. No. No, 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 no. When you go forth with the purest of intentions and allow yourself to be guided by the Most High, those opportunities are not too good to be true. That is your destiny manifesting itself in front of you. And that's the power of being present. And that's the purpose of being present is possible throughout your days, throughout all of the work of life. Anytime you're stressed, anytime you're happy, being able to recognize the essence of that in your nervous system, on your mental state, on your emotional state. And not only that, being able to unpack those types of things frees you from that box. Because then you don't have to hold up a mask for anybody. You don't have to hold up any weight for anybody. You can just be you. And the best part about that is that you are fully accepted as you in the eyes of God. And I want you to know that if you're listening to this, I do love you. We are one and the same. And the most beautiful thing about that is that we are mirrors for one another, and we get to find out the meaning of our individual truths through connecting and being vulnerable with one another.
Where do you think you got the inspiration, or what do you think inspired you to want to create that kind of facility or be that person that, like maybe a space holder, as you might say, a person who's able to hold space, be a listener and a helper when people are in mental anguish or just, life pain? Like, why do you think when did you notice that that's something that you want to do? Was it the counseling the kids? Was it before then? Like, I love this vision and I share a similar vision. I think this podcast is a way that I can do it kind of, removed. Like, I'm not actually feeling the connection between the listeners really, but like, I really love that idea of like having a place where people can come and you can be that there for them, truly be there, using the be reference, be there for them. When did you get that inspiration? And I truly share it and I love it.
Amen. And I have two answers for that. And the first one is much more like black and white thinking concept. But as a man, I love to provide and protect a safe space for other people to experience love in. Right? And if we were to look at that was the white side of the black and white thinking. If we were to look at the black side of that thinking, the feminine nature wants to nurture that. And that is what I mean by the fluidity of that. Recognizing the wholeness of my being. I, as a person, like, I don't know if you're listening to this, if you believe in astrology and things like that, but I'm a Cancer. Cancers have a feminine polarity, and I certainly feel that about myself, and I'm certainly discovering the depths of that femininity and the creativity and the receptivity of that. I love to nurture. My nature is to nurture other people. I love being able to take care of you and make you feel good about yourself because you're amazing. Everybody's incredible. One in a quadrillion, trillion chance. God in drag. I love you. I love you, Harley. Thank you for having me on this podcast. I love myself. Give myself a big hug because, hey, yo, what gave me the inspiration to want to create a place like that, an actual physical manifestation of a place where people can come and transcend their traumas, is because of the fact that I would not be on this planet if I was not gifted a safe space to transcend the idea of what those traumas were making me to be, or how they were making me to feel, or how they were making me feel to act. Right? You ever get a gift so good you want to give it to millions and millions of people? I want to give love to as many people as possible, and I want to help people learn and understand that love is in them. It's within them and outside of them, because we're created in the eyes of the Creator, and the Creator has conscious love for all. We are not alone. We never are alone. Creating a physical space where people can not only experience a dream come true life setting. I mean, this off the grid, you have to drive through 10 miles of lava field to get to this location. And once you do, you beat around the path a little bit and just boom, opens up to gorgeous, untouched rainforest other than the farmers that live in it. It's amazing. And the energy of this place. I'm getting too much into the details. For me to really stay on track here, I do want to answer again that ultimately the inspiration behind how wanting to manifest a physical location where people can come and have that safety to be vulnerable is because I was granted that gift. And ultimately that gift came through love. Somebody loved or thought enough of me to create that safe space and hear me out. And I thought enough of myself at the time, or was having a hard enough time at that time, to open up about it. People deserve to be heard. Everybody wants to be heard, seen, loved, and accepted. And the boxes society's trying to create to put everybody in, because our mind loves to conceptualize and put boxes around ideas. It's just a part of our nature, but it's a hard part of our nature sometimes. I'm here to help people go through that hard.
Yeah, it seems like our culture these days has a lot of like consumerism slash I want to receive, I want to, get this for myself. I want to, I don't know, it's like a selfish slash not much selflessness. But like one of the things I learned is like one of the truest gifts is to give time, give space, give help. And like, you might say, some people might say, why would he want to go and give his time and sacrifice for others? Or it's like, I can just see like anytime that I'm in a situation and a person comes to me and I'm able to like either just listen or maybe provide insight. Maybe I'm not, who knows if I can do that, but even just being able to listen, that gift of giving is so powerful. And I think that's why like volunteering slash, helping some, like, I don't know, just in someone drops something in the store, just going, walking over and picking it up for them, just like being that person to help and to give time and to sacrifice. I feel like that it makes you a happier person. I feel like it gives you a more fulfilled life, or at least a more fulfilled day when you do it. And I think this goal of yours is very noble. Yeah. So I guess the point of all that is just to give is the best gift. And I think that's why I really respect people, even just people who are a part of organizations that help the community, I don't know. That's why I kind of like churches. Like, I don't necessarily like going to church, but I like sometimes what churches do for homeless, or what they do for people in need, or for single moms, or for people out in Africa, or anything like that. And that's just, honestly, I'm truly excited to see where this compound of yours can go. And honestly, it's probably a place I'll check out, because I'm always down to have a therapeutic session, especially with someone as genuine as you. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see this compound when it becomes a reality.
Well, it's already a compound, which is a beautiful thing. It's a 6-acre off-grid farm in the middle of a rainforest in the southeast corner of Hawaii. It's unbelievable. And the thing of it is I get to add to it. And I'm really excited to be able to do so, and to take that opportunity, give back because of that opportunity. I also feel myself stepping into an immense different chapter of rebirthing, being 7,000, 5,000, however far away Hawaii is from Ohio, many, many thousands of miles away from home, a place that I've called home for 27 years. I am unboxing a lot of myself in that vulnerability, with myself, with other people. It requires both, with God. The unboxing is the best part. That's the journey. And to have a place, it also just so happens that the people that are already living on the farm align with the vision that I have. And that's very exciting. Very exciting. So
It's amazing.
If it is aligned with the Most High, we shall see how he he and she, God and Goddess, inspire to create. I am open to the Most High, and I love this opportunity to be alive. And I love that truly any human being that we ever meet has that same opportunity to be alive and be a creator, or a co-creator, rather. Everybody is such a powerful, powerful being. And it's so, so important that we all take such good care of ourselves and be gentle with ourselves. Because this society that we have programmed ourselves to be a part of is rough on us. And truly, the greatest thing that you could ever do is love yourself enough so that you can love other people. It's so necessary. I always come back to this, think like bees. It's so necessary to think like a bee, because of the fact that while you are innately taking care of yourself and loving yourself, you're automatically serving a greater purpose in your community. Automatically. And it's not just your local community, like your village or your city or your region or your county, your state, no, it's the cosmos, it's the universe, it's consciousness. When you are feeling love, you are emitting a higher frequency than fear, shame, guilt, anger. Letting go of all of those negative emotions that seem to be projected on us by not upholding the standards of the societal standards, aka what other people think we should be doing because we look or present a certain way. We're evolving beyond that, and this is the greatest time to help lift that veil and a coming to acceptance of truth and love within, unconditional love, hopefully, within everybody and everything that we come across, because we recognize that we are one and the same. There's no reason to have division. There's no reason to have separation. There is in our human mind in a lot of ways, but in the energetic field, it's a beautiful melting pot. Beautiful melting pot. It's a matter of, do we feel safe? Do we feel loved? Do we feel heard? No? Okay, that's where we create separation amongst ourselves. But the crappy part is that how society has perpetuated itself in closed mind thinking. We tend to create division within ourselves and outside of ourselves much quicker than we are naturally supposed to. No different than we unnaturally destroy ourselves because we are putting things inside of our body, aka the food that we may or may not be eating that is just trash. It's important to be able to have those boundaries, but love it all at the same time. And truly love it all at the same time.
Yeah. Speaking about that, 5,000 miles away, here's a quote that I found. The world is a book, and those who do not travel read only one page. And it's like, if the world is a book and you're living in one location your whole life, you're only on page 1. You haven't experienced much of the book. And like, this hits me hard because honestly, I'm 22. I still live in the same town I was born in. The hospital that I was born in is like 4 miles that way. There's going to be a time where I find myself going on a journey and an adventure as well. I don't know when that will be, but I really, really look up to you for taking this leap and exploring a few other pages of this immense book that we have on, for this globe. And so I just thought that quote was kind of cool, and it's kind of inspirational. Like, don't just stay in page 1, Harley. There's other pages. And it seems like you're doing just that.
I appreciate you voicing that, brother. And I do see you exploring many pages outside of your own book. One page that you're in right now. The best part is that I feel you exploring many inner pages too, and writing that book. That's the beauty we all deserve to see and be a part of. Good, bad, or ugly, I love you, brother.
I love you as well. It's so interesting because I guess now that I'm remembering it, we first met on a Zoom call. And like through that Zoom call, I'm like, I'd never met this guy. I don't, I don't know what he's like outside of this 1 hour convo, but it's like you laid it out all out on the table. Like we dove into religion, life, the past, the future, goals, all of it. And it's like, I don't know. It's just, I know that whenever I give you a call, it's going to be a great convo. And that's just, I think you are a great space holder. Like you always are like, so how are you doing? Genuinely. And it's like some people like sometimes ask the question, how are you doing? But they don't really care. And then I kind of sometimes know like, I'm not going to give a full answer because they just are asking just because that's a social norm. How are you doing? Good. But with you, it's completely different. And I feel at peace and willing to open up. And I feel that femininity that you bring to the table, which is like that nurturing, supportive, listening ear. It's like, that's a thing that I think I have some of that as well. I'm noticing that. And so it's like, it's very cool to see. And I see you impacting tons of people. I remember once seeing you on a Jarrett podcast because I kind of got obsessed with Jarrett like 6 months ago. I started listening to his pods. And I'm like, who's he having on? I want to have all them on. Ooh, he has Trent. He has Davey. He has, Dakota, all these different people. And so like I heard you on one of the pods say, you were saying, one of my goals is to be a motivational speaker. I want to impact people. I want to better people's lives. I want to inspire people. And I'm like, man, I share a similar vision of like, I want people to be able to listen to my content and be like, wow, I feel better now. I feel motivated. I feel inspired to chase the dream that I've always wanted to chase. I don't know. I feel a warmth when I was hearing you talk with Jarrett, and I'm very glad we got to meet. And so it's very cool.
Likewise, brother. Likewise. The universe has a brilliant way of connecting you with people that align with your intentions, that align with your vision. And that's the best part of it. Creating yourself and like wanting to be that motivational speaker. Maybe if you just wanted to be an engineer, we probably would have never met. But being vulnerable enough to go beyond just that. That's how we have gotten to connect. Amen. Life is beautiful. Seriously. And it's such a gorgeous dance. And when you made a remark about my femininity and recognizing that within yourself, I would like to say thank you for saying that. That was touching. And a massive, massive pinpoint in me being able to poke a hole in my own balloon and pop out of my box, so to speak, and feel more free and feel more at home within my own skin and not feel the pressures of society, not feel the pressures of my past and not feel the pressures of the future. Like really allow myself to be that much more present was conceptualizing femininity differently and allowing the knowing in the fact that there is both polarities in every single being, and whether or not you are born with a penis or whether or not you are born with a vagina, you are a whole being. And your power stance, your energy stance switches depending on what your needs are or what your intention is. And I just want to remind everybody that's listening, as you move throughout this life, please do the best that you can to intend to align yourself with the most high, the greatest possible love that you can. Whatever that love looks like to you, be it not involved with harm to yourself or anyone else. And if it is, no shame in that game. Shit happens when we learn, because we're humans and we don't know everything and we're not perfect and we make mistakes. That's another huge part that has allowed me to feel free, is releasing myself from the guilt and the chains of shame and blame. Radical responsibility is required for any individual to live up to and have the courage to face and give the face of their truth to the world. And as I remarked earlier, at the source of it all, light and love, baby. Can't get past the love of it all. Can't get past that. It's all good. Because it is.
And when you say, yeah, and when you say higher power and connect with it or be in touch with it or align with it, what do you mean when you're saying that? Higher power, higher love? I guess try to put that into words, what you're trying to say, because I'm following somewhat, but not fully, honestly.
A Christ consciousness. A Tao. A submission to a divine will. A higher power, knowing that this is not it. What we can see, what we can feel, what we can taste and touch and experience is all our life is ever going to be, but it's not it. Your essence is it. And it's part of our job on this planet to create a relationship with that essence. That is the higher power. The essence of life. It's an inside job, like Jared says. Life is an inside job. And that higher power is that essence. That higher power is anywhere in the spectrum between subconscious and consciousness. That higher power is anywhere between the spectrum of 0 to 1000 hertz. That higher power is anywhere in between the range of emotions we can experience, the range of professions that we can experience. The higher power is not one based in love, or not one. Wow, it is based in love. The higher power is always based in love. The highest power is love itself, I believe. I believe. Because it's the unification. It's the lifting of the veil. There is no separation in love. It's unity in love. I believe that the highest power is love. And so to speak, quote unquote, God is love. Love is my religion. And it's very important for people to create a relationship with their essence, because when you create a relationship with your essence, you create a relationship of love with yourself, and then you share yourself with the world from that. Game over. Unplug from the matrix. Game over. Now it's time to actually be. And there's no better time than now.
Totally. And you say Christ-centered consciousness as an example, and that's kind of how I like to live, in the sense of I don't necessarily look up to God or Christ as like as a savior necessarily. I might, but I also just look at it as like a role model, and like, okay, if I can live as Christ did, live in Christ-like life, what did he live like? He lived with love, humility, sacrifice, pacifism in some sense. Like, I'm not much of a violent person. I don't know if I'd ever want to be. I don't like hurting people. I love the idea of trying my absolute best to try to reach an ideal that Jesus seemed to reach. And that's just, I think it all kind of ties together. When you say love is your religion, I think that's very true. I would say similarly, I think truth and love are my religions, the combination. Because in my opinion, sometimes when you only have love, sometimes you're missing out on a piece of, like, well, sometimes life needs a little bit of truth, and truth can be hard, and truth, but also I think truth can be loving at the same time. And like, that's kind of my ultimate goal. How can I strike the balance between being loving, truthful, and like, without being, well, so truthful that you slice someone down? Like, you could pull a black truth, versus a white lie, but like a black truth, you're ugly. You didn't need to say that. The utility of that truth wasn't useful, but that's one of my ultimate goals in life. How can I find the balance between truth and love, using both of those to reach the best version of myself, so that I can be a support network for myself, others, etc. And that's just, when you said love is your religion, I just say it's very similar for me. It's like I don't necessarily put myself in a box of like I'm a Christian or I'm a this. I am a person who's trying his best to use love, use truth, and use just my experience and other people's experiences to better my worldview and better my life, and just hopefully I will be able to look back and be proud of the life I've lived, and hopefully people will be able to say, you know, Harley, he was a guy who I could count on. He was a guy who truly cared about me. He was a guy who I could trust his word. Those kinds of things. Those are kind of my goals, and using that love and truth, it's helped me so far, and I'm just going to keep trying it.
I suggest that you keep doing the same, because I'm going to. Shit, man.
Heck yeah.
At this point, I see no other choice. I see no other choice at this point, because anytime I followed something else or followed a derivative of an intention that was masked as something that might have been love or truth, when really I wasn't listening to my gut. You know? Like, the love and truth is listening to that gut, no matter how hard that answer may be sometimes. You know, that's another, like, that's another different level of presence that I've been acclimating myself to, is listening, following my body, listening to my body, rather, and my own nervous system. That's love for me, and that's my truth in that present moment. And again, just removing projections from past, projections from future, the whole 9 yards. Allowing yourself to be as present as possible.
Yeah, man.
Harley, my dude.
Yeah,
as
it's been a
ironic
true
as it
pleasure.
may be. I was gonna say I just had some homies walk upstairs. So this is pretty cool. I don't know if people are gonna be able to ever see this video outside of the clips that we make, but Tsbees warehouse is actually a part of a much larger warehouse and operation that moves quite a bit of Amazon. Done pooped out.
It's all good. It's all good.
Well, let me turn the camera around. But either way, man, a literal skate park up here.
Dang.
Good stuff, bro.
Heck yeah.